I've more or less set up a kind of little sandbox repo. I've got it in sort of a similar kind of line to to the actual official repository, which has the captions. I think you guys did for one, like I think we organized something for one of my previous videos that we did. I'm not entirely sure, but it was one of those. Anyway, so I've gone ahead, done that. I actually decided to take a video from Star Wars as an example and basically pull out the SRT through using a Descript kind of a thing, or like Otter AI, like the machine translate that takes video and converts it into like a transcript. And then I more or less, again, just corrected the English like you would do with the automated translations and then split out a file. So that's what I've gone ahead and done here. And we use SRT files, especially in the film industry, when doing post-production work, for a lot of the, just general, for those who prefer to have subtitles on and who are hearing impaired. We use a file called SRTs or SBVs, and they're essentially just text files and timestamps, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, but this is more or less the raw text with it's just the 6 lines, the timestamps in hours, minutes, seconds and milliseconds, for how long, what's the line, and then it shifts over depending on how many lines you have in there. And so you would normally in YouTube, if you go into your, like obviously, if I go edit and go into subtitles, I think it automatically adds the machine translated captions. Like I think it automatically just chucks it in upon uploading a video to YouTube. I'm not sure if that's an option that you put in. Maybe you could tell me, or I just got rid of it because it was obviously I already have my own. So I figured, well, I don't need this machine translated one. I've got the more accurate ones. I wonder if you can actually, no, okay, you can't. Anyway, so normally with the subtitles that I would have in here, if you had any, or if you'd actually done the machine translations, that you can actually select the tab here that has, auto-generated, and then you click on these little options here, and it should give you the option to download the captions. I think I can maybe give an example of how that functions. Maybe I'll just add subtitles.
Yeah, I know that one because but for the file, that's when I already when I have this file like with the timestamp, and then I download it, and so my computer doesn't cannot open the file. Actually, do we need to open the file? It's need to be used.
You shouldn't have to open the file, not locally on your machine. Are you running a Windows or are you running a Macintosh? What's your operating system here?
Yeah, I'm running a Mac, but it's an old version, and I don't know. I'm looking for the application to open it, but I can download anything because of old version Mac. So I'm wondering how can I
what you can do is on Macintosh, you can rename files to anything. You can literally just change it to a text file, and so because it's literally, that doesn't really matter what it's just, as long as at the end of the day you make sure that it's named an SRT at when you go to upload the captions, right? So
yeah,
I think on Mac it should just come with every single Mac. I've got one next to me right here, so it's convenient. There's I think it's called Text Edit. You should have Text Edit. Just it comes it just comes with default Mac OS X. So you can actually take the SRT here. Like this is Windows, but I guess maybe to make it a little bit more familiar with Macintosh, like the big icons, whatever it is they have. You can always just double click on the actual words. Oh no, not that. My bad. That was a bad example. I think for Macintosh, you press Enter. I press F2, but you can just go txt, and then Macintosh would just treat that, come up with a pop-up window saying, are you sure you want to use txt, or do you want to append this extension after it, or something like that. So so you can do that, or you can basically upload it onto GitHub, and then you can look at it through GitHub, like I've done on here. So I've actually, so when you go to create a new repository, I'll just go ahead and create one for you, just show what I mean. So if I go click on a new repository, I call this test 021, create repository, and then it brings up you the default thing, and you can either create a new file or you can upload an existing file. You can just choose your SRT, commit the changes to the, thanks GitHub. That's not part of the tutorial.
Okay.
So yeah, so choose your files and your SRT, and then you commit what the heck, GitHub? What the hell? I'm trying to teach here and it's denying me. All right, well, I'll refresh the page. Maybe that would do something. Hopefully you don't run into this stuff. Otherwise we'll have a problem.
Yeah.
Choose your files and SRT. Commit changes.
Yay.
Hooray. There we go. We got something. So you can more or less just, GitHub will be able to recognize that file type. And so you can, in your repository, you can make this private just to edit files, and you can just have a collection of them, really, and whether you want to basically organize them using subfolders or whatnot. But the function, again, is just identical here. And you click on your file, you can just edit, and then you can make your changes here, right? So you can type away stuff, right? And obviously when you're done, you write a message and then you commit the stuff. And so does that more or less answer what it is you're kind of familiar with in terms of opening stuff? Does that help? Again, we're recording, so you can more or less just go back over this. Yes or no?
Yes. Everything is good.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to make sure, I want to just point out a few little details when actually translating SRTs in this sense. Is obviously once you've got your SRT or your text file with all your captions and the times on them, and you've uploaded them to GitHub, like I have here. Captions sandbox, here we go. I've got them under the folder captions, under the subfolder English, and I've chucked in my SRT here. And what I'm actually going to do here is, because Git Localize doesn't actually it doesn't recognize SRT file formats. So this to Git Localize would just be an empty repository, and all it would see is just the markdown. And the file formats that Git Localize only recognizes is markdown, JSON, HTML, and something called POX or PO or something. I'm not sure what that file format is. There's a billion of them. I can't possibly know them all, but the main ones are JSON, HTML, and Markdown. And it's mostly familiar that works with Markdown. Oh, and YAML, which is YAML, another Markdown language. That's more or less works with Markdown. So what you do is basically, once you're sort of in, you have your SRT, you can more or less just go, you have to add a new file, and then you have to name that file the captions, Vader -n. And then there's a really convoluted process. You have to go and click on English, or go back to your SRT. And then I'm basically just going to click on edit the file, but I'm not going to make any commit changes or anything else like that. I'm going to select all this text. I'm going to go Control-C to copy, and I'm going to go back into my new file and just paste it in there. Partly for the reason because so I can have separate files that are translated in the end, or just have something to translate. And then I'll commit this new file, and then, oh, whoops, no, I forgot to name it a Markdown, silly me. And then up the top here, I have to go give the file extension .md for Markdown, and then obviously recommit those changes. And then it's going to give us something like this. This is fine for translating, but you kind of have to go back over it to make sure it matches this format here with the spaces and the new lines. And the annoying thing is, well, I'll show you an example with Git Localize, is that it can actually screw up some of the syntax that's that Markdown translates from this SRT because of the way it's spaced out and formatted on the file. So it would just basically take this one like it's already done here for comparison. I think I'll just show you what I mean. Yeah. So what it does is basically it does this, right? We don't want that. This is bad. This won't read. YouTube does not read SRTs from left to right. It will just barf at you and say, hey, look at your file. You're trying to throw a spanner into the works. I don't like you. So we have to make sure that we copy this format the way that we have done it with the translations all done. So, and I'll show you a practical example of what happens when we do that. That's sort of the kind of theory part, I guess, whatever you call it. And obviously, I've gone ahead and linked this up to Git Localize, which I'm sure you're all familiar with now, given what I showed you a couple of days beforehand. Question, had you actually gone over those resources that I sent you at all and, familiarize yourself or rewatch the video to make sure you solidified that process into your head? No? What did you actually do post-video during in your spare time, or did you actually go back over the resources? What'd you do?
No, I haven't watched the resources that you sent.
Right.
I haven't watched it. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Good to know. Anyway, well, we're going to go back over this thing again, which I'm sure you're all too familiar with. Let's choose an exotic language, which I'm definitely not familiar with. Give me a dice roll here. We got plenty to choose from. We have Estonian, Hawaiian. I've never seen Hawaiian written in any text before, so that's new to me. So I'm going to go add that. Obviously, add your assignee for the moderation. It's going to be myself because I have no friends. And add the language, and Bob's your uncle. We have something. How? It's the language code. Interesting. How? Right. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Into the captions sandbox, and you do your standard translation pipeline process. The Markdown file would pick up. In this case, if we'd added a language and it was still SRT, it would just show up nothing. We just have nothing here. So that's why it's important you do that little mini conversion process. And I'm just going to go ahead, machine translate everything because I'm lazy and I like clicking buttons and making things do for me that I wouldn't normally do myself. So this is very convenient. And I'm just going to go ahead, and it looks like, oh my God, it looks like Maori, Te Reo Maori. Who would in there? And again, they spawn from the same sort of area. So, okay. And once we've gone ahead and translated, we create a review request. You leave your comment, who you are, who translated, whatnot, blah, blah, blah. And you submit your file to be reviewed. Obviously, the moderator is going to come in and check your spelling and the connotations of the word. This is a Hawaiian Star Wars, so we're going to make sure that the words are accurate to what Lord Vader, this evil person, is speaking in Hawaiian, because that was George Lucas's original intention, true story. So obviously we approved them. We're like, yep, that's great. Hawaiian Vader. That's the new plot. That's the new Star Wars IP. Disney, get out of here. I'm the one with the original ideas. I know what I'm doing. I'm adding Star Wars into Hawaiian into Star Wars. So hooray, we've got a little pull request. We go ahead, we send the pull request, and we obviously give it a decent name like Captions, the name of the video, which is Vader's Monologue. I'm terrible with spelling it. Am I spelling monologue right?
Yeah, I don't think it's correct. Monologue, L-O-G-L. Right.
I'm really putting your English spelling to the test because I think I'm on the same level as you. So I'm kind of, I'm not the greatest. I'm just gonna, ask Google, because when in doubt, ask Google, right?
Yeah.
So copy that, put that in there. I don't want to look like a silly person.
Oh, yeah.
And then captions
Right.
monologue, and then we're going to call this how.
Mhm.
Translated, and obviously you can add in a big description to give it a little bit more fleshing out. Translated captions and Hawaiian. Yeah, that's
cool.
translated, initial translated captions. There we go. And far out. Yeah, I'll translate. There we go. Yeah, cool. Send pull request. Boom. You know the drill. It shows up in your repository. It's bing, bang, boom in your pull requests. Wow, it showed up.
Yeah.
Technology is amazing. All you have to do is click a couple buttons and it does it for you. So we obviously investigate it. We're like, all right, he's put up a pull request. I see what you're doing. And you obviously assign some reviewers. I'm going to, again, assign myself. Files changed. And then, oh, God, look. Oh, geez. What's happened? It's added this really dumb and GT semicolon. And we're like, no, we don't want that. This is terrible. This is going to break things even more. So obviously the reviewer will be like, hang on a minute. Something's fishy here. Something is fishy here. Take out the random symbols. So this might be an example of a review that someone will put up. A moderator actually would be doing this, not the translatee, or the random symbols. Please start a review. Finish your reviews, request changes. Right, so they'll be pending, and then you go back into the conversation. You're like, hang on a minute. Obviously, you see that, like, oh God, I hope that wasn't me. It was actually Git Localize screwing things up. So what we actually have to do is go into our code, which is our repository base, and actually investigate the branch that it actually pushed up, because it's a pull request. It's a branch that wants to merge into the main branch, which is the branch we're in now. So we can actually reduce everything down into one thing. And we check out Git Localize, and now we switched over. And if we jump into captions, where I have, it's got how. It's there, how. So normally it's best practice just obviously, this is the really dumb, tedious part. You have to actually go into the edit file and do this. You have to do that. And you have to do that manually. You actually have to do it manually in the GitHub thing, or actually you can do this in the web browser, which is actually convenient of Microsoft having acquired GitHub. Is you just press the period key, and it's going to give you a web editor. This might be a little bit too advanced, but the function itself is no different to how most people use text editors. This is just an advanced text editor. But it shows everything in a more streamlined environment for people to actually do something like this. A small little trick I'm going to teach you. I'm not actually entirely sure if they do this in the web editor, but I guess we're going to find out. And so you can obviously review the comments that actually happen in the code while you edit. And I wonder if yes, I can do this. All right. Keep your eyes and your ears peeled, man. I'm going to show you something whiz bang. So we find the characters that we want to replace, which is at and GT semicolon, and it's got to highlight every single one that we have. And then we select and then we put in the character or the char or the word or this whatnot to replace those words that we've highlighted. So we just use a greater than symbol, and then we click this little button here that says replace all, or you can, if you don't want to replace every single one, you can do it for replace enter if you're just replacing maybe one or two things. But in this case, we're replacing everything. The shortcut command is Control-Alt-Enter. So I'm just going to do that. And while, lo and behold, it's replaced all of those nasty little symbols out, and we've actually fulfilled our promise in replacing them. And now it's just a matter of actually severing out the new lines, because Git Localize being Git Localize certainly likes to screw with our documentation. So this is the part you actually have to do manually, but it's actually not as bad as actually, it's cuts the time in half, right? So doing that little replace expression just really does things a little bit more quicker, because it's, if you can do it, if you can automate it, automate it. The lazier you are, the better. So this is, I don't mean like literally being unproductively lazy. I mean just automating stuff. I don't mean to take that the wrong way. To actually bring up that fine little search bar thing that I did to replace the stuff, I just press Control F. I'm not sure if it's Command F on Mac OS X, but you should be able to access this if you have Chrome or any standard web browser. So now that we've basically got this going, we can go ahead and click on this source control here. Click on the plus button, which is saying staging, which is staging this change that we've done. And then we add on our message. I've replaced the symbols, and you basically hit, you either come up to these little 3 dots here. Again, this is might be a little bit complicated, but you got to do it anyway, because this is the only way I know how to do it. That's convenient for everyone on the web browser, because everyone has a web browser. And I'm not going to go out of the wind to get people to download VS Code. I mean, you can totally do that, but that's entirely up to you. But anyway, 3 dots, commit. You commit with the message. It does its thing. That's great. And now we want to go back to our repository. When you come up to the hamburger menu at the top left sidebar, go to repository, brings you back safe and sound. Yeah, so the raw source code is all good, checks out, that's great. Our changes have been pushed in, and if we actually go into our pull request, we can see that it's actually now in the chain of changes that we have that we've done. So I can actually now pin that review. File, add your review. Review changes. Awesome. Submit review. I approve this. That's great. I'm going to resolve this conversation because we no longer need that anymore. And now it's just a matter of merging the pull requests, confirm the merge, reduce everything down into one branch. Git Localize bot does everything it needs to. And then if we go back into our code, we can see that our lovely little how has shown up. And then one more final thing is that once we've done this, we just need to click on the little edit this file and then change the extension to SRT, and then scroll all the way down, commit your changes, and then boom. It's as simple as that. And now you can just download the file. One way of doing that is basically clicking on raw, and then it brings up you to this raw text file and hitting Control S. And then it's just gonna bring up a prompt. Control S for Windows, Command S for Mac, and then you just save it to where it is you want to save it. And then you go into your video subtitles, which is in your studio, under your content, you go into your little details, and then you click on your subtitles. Oh, no, not that one. Get out of here. And then we go add language, and we find our language that we translated for, which was Hawaiian, believe it or not, because we're a diverse, ethnic, inclusive community. If YouTube actually supports the damn thing. Yeah, they do. Well done. So we go add our subtitles, and we go upload file, which I know you're familiar with this process. And any last minute changes you might want to add, you totally can do that. Error contains line. Contains errors on line 9.
Line 9.
What is it doing to me, man?
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. I see. This is the finicky process. You have to kind of make sure that that things ain't broken, eh?
So the look things, the time. So
it's on that one line. You're right.
Yeah.
Sharp eyes you have there, Mai. Sharp eyes.
Yeah.
So obviously we want to have them on their own new lines, and so we'll commit that, and then we'll save. It's obviously treating it as some kind of a. So I'm going to go raw. just Control S. I'll make sure that's all different files. I want to delete that one I just had. And then SRT, save. Oh yeah, hold on, no. Call that Captions How for the shortcut, the shorthand for Hawaiian, save onto the desktop. Go back into YouTube Studio, add the subtitles, upload the file with the timing. Veda How, open, contains errors in line 9. What the hell is going on? All right, line 9, 3. So it's complaining about 3. Why are you complaining about 3, you bloody GitHub? Damn it. You deny me uploading files and now you deny me translating documents? What is this? Anyway, this is going to be, I really don't want to waste your time, you watching me trying to debug a freaking SRT file.
No, it's fine. I know the process now. I know the process.
I had, honestly, I had it working with Vietnamese. I swear to God, it was working perfectly with Vietnamese. I don't know why it's doing this. Probably because, again.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I think I got how to, I understand how to do it now.
Yeah. But because me being me, I want to make sure it works. I don't want to see you in some false problem that you run into the error and then you basically like, oh, so it didn't work. But I'm going to put this into the video as, debugging script. Because at least you can skip over this part when you freaking found the damn thing. It should just, damn you.
I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah, I was saying errors on lines 9 allows errors to continue. Okay, so we can just allow it.
Yeah. Oh, it's show like number 3 is
interesting. So it's adding that into the whole block. So it's taking 3 for some reason. That's why. I know why now. It's because we don't have a double 0 on the hours. So it's removed a 0. So we want to make sure we have those zeros in there. Again, it's with any kind of coding, text editing, it's basically pettifogging in the sense that you're just picking over the small little details, making sure that you have them matched up, because SRTs, like I said, when they get read, they're very, very finicky, right? So this time, I swear to God, fingers crossed, we've hit the nail on the mark, and it doesn't want to moan at us this time, hopefully. Any more files, Veda How, save, yes, replace, Q, and I'm going to go back into the repository, into my clear subtitles, upload file with timing, Veda How, open. Still complaining. It's still complaining about the goddamn noise. What the hell? I'm just going to check over this, make sure I got it right. I'm doing a little bit of backlog.
It's okay.
So 0. No, it still seemed to just get rid of the zeros for some reason. So I'm going to manually do that. So you can actually do that in your text editor if you ever come into an encounter like that. But yeah, this should work now. Oh, okay. At this point, I give up. Like, I give up on this stuff. Again, I'm grazing over this stuff. It's missing the other extra zeros. For God's sake, Jack.
It's okay, Jack.
It's not okay, bye. I got to do a good job and make sure I live up to standards.
Okay. So would you like to change to another language or?
Yeah, probably. Do you want me to go through that again, do you?
It's fine. It's fine if you have time.
I've got a whole hour, so I can kind of move it along. Oh,
yeah. Or you would like to fix this? It's okay.
Yeah, you know me. Come on. I'm like, I'm not going to let this unfinished. So it's the GitHub process, the Git Localize just really seems to screw with the new lines and the paragraphs that get added depending on how it's positioned. It's really annoying. And like I said, it's very finicky. We're yak shaving right here, passing times of and
No.
just, you know, having a yarn while I figure this damn thing out. Right.
So in your opinion, do you suggest,
it worked. I fixed it, I fixed it.
Oh,
Lo and
good.
behold.
Awesome.
After 5 different attempts of saving, editing, and saving, we finally got to the end. So that's the Git Localize publishing caption pipeline.
Awesome.
And that's how you do it. And you just rinse and repeat. Just, you have to be extra certain that you don't leave out mistakes, right? You don't do this stuff here. You don't have that do this, you know, you have a missing 0, or you don't want line 11 to be on the same line as 10 and stuff like that, right? So you want to make sure that you have that precise.
Yeah.